only show in Chicagoland offering you live one-on-one with the pros that know. This is Sports Page.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Goldman. Always a fun time when our guest tonight drops by for a visit. He used to be one half of the Monsters of the Midday, but after the recent shakeup at the Score, Mike North is going it solo these days on the radio. Pappy's here tonight. Lots to talk about besides the doings at the Score, from the Cubs and the Sox to the Bears and the Bulls. Mike's seldom lacking an opinion on anything. You get your chance to talk to Mike North from the Score right after we check the news of the day.
Miller, Marino, with this offense, I think these quarterbacks will prosper. The one guy I was not happy with was number 90, Duff. This guy, number 90, I guess they gave him a signing bonus. Why? I don't know. He was being thrown around like a rag doll.
He is Mike North from the Score, Sports Radio 1160, and he is our guest here tonight, and he's going solo these days on the radio side of things. Big shakeups over there. And some things never change, though. The Bears, number 90, problems on defense. Doesn't matter which.
Can you believe that?
That's got to be what? That's just the closet as they're rebuilding your studio out there, right? That's the actual studio at the Score.
That is the actual studio. But you know what? I've grown fond of it. I really like it. I do. I like everything about it.
How you like being on your own? Noon to 4 now.
Last week was rough. I mean, Thursday night, I started to peter out. Friday, I did a thing at Harry Carey's out in Rosemont, right? Went home about 4:30, boom, out like a light. Because I figured it out. When I was with Danny, Jiggs and I would probably get about an hour and 30 seconds, or 30 minutes each. Right. An hour and 30 minutes each, plus commercial time, up another hour commercial time, and everything else, right? Plus the callers. Well, now I'm doing about 3 hours a day. So the first couple days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I was coming home and I was beat. But now I'm getting used to it. Today I feel good. I feel great. I mean, the rain woke me up as I was coming out.
You're like the king of all media here now. Your television show, moving
right.
to Channel 2 as well.
Going to Channel 2, 26 weeks. Couldn't be happier. My wife, Phoebe, who's the executive producer, Jeff Schwartz, they worked their butts off trying to get this deal done with Jim Berman of Channel 2. And the spot opened up. They said, you know what, we like the show. We sent them a tape of the Mark Grace show that we did at Basta Pasta in Edison Park. They liked it, and they said, we'll go with it after Beer Extra. So 11:05 on Sunday night. I mean, when I was a kid, I grew up in this town. Channel 2 was it. Fahey Flynn, P.J. Hoff, the weatherman, Bruce Robertson at Ice, Johnny Morris. So it's great to be on.
Well, I'm glad for you. I'm real happy for
Thanks,
that.
buddy.
And hopefully the Bears, wants that you won't have as a lead-in anymore, so that's probably a good thing.
And you know what? I think people will watch all year. I think they'll watch Beer Extra and they'll watch my show all year because, you know what? It's new. I mean, we're not expecting miracles, but we do know this. We got rid of the goof. In fact, we got rid of both goofs. We got rid of McCaskey and we got rid of Wanstead.
McNown-Matthews, what's your take on that situation? You go with McNown right from day one, or you kind of gradually ease him in there?
I said from the very beginning when he was drafted, you play this guy from the beginning. You let him play like Aikman played, like Elway played, like Terry Bradshaw played. You let him get knocked down. I mean, the one year that Aikman played, they were 1-15, and Steve Walsh is the guy that led him to the one win. So I say you let him get dirty, learn his craft. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to probably throw about 20 interceptions this year. But if he throws like 15, 16 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, they win 5, 6 ball games, I don't think there's going to be too many complaints.
Yeah, there's one of the picks, but as the game went on Saturday night, he got better as the game went along. His first couple of passes picked, but on the second quarter, right before the half, led him on a touchdown.
Well, you know what, Rob? The cool thing was he came back, like you said. If a quarterback keeps making mistakes, even after the first 2 mistakes, now you got some doubts. But he led him to a touchdown. I love the receivers. I think the way Gary Croton's got this offense set up, he'll make average quarterbacks look good. He'll make very good quarterbacks look great. I mean, you got 4 receivers, you got 5 receivers. I've never seen a Bear offense like this. It boggles the mind. I mean, we were lucky we saw 2 receivers on the field. Now we got 4 or 5 sometimes.
Well, let me ask you, too, about the state of Chicago sports and longtime Chicago guy that you are. Have you ever seen it professionally, the professional teams in the state that they're in right now, where there's really, and I guess things I read about why they shook things up at the Score, that's part of the reason.
Sure.
Why? Just fan apathy at this point.
Well, you know what? I look at it this way. As far as winning's concerned, I believe every team is going to finish under 500, and you can go back 30, 40 years. I don't think every team has ever finished under 500.
It's possible every team could have a top draft pick, the number one draft choice.
I will say this. There are some interesting stories with each team, even though each team sucks. The White Sox are going to get better. They had the kids. You got the Riggleman death watch, so to speak, with the Chicago Cubs. With the Hawks, well, you know what? They might make the playoffs this year. They got a good guy at Lauren Mulliken. You don't know. The Bears, you got Cade McNown. The Bulls, Elton Brand's coming in. It's got a full season. So there's stuff to talk about. But as far as winning and losing is concerned, there is apathy. There's no doubt about it.
Do you hear it among the callers that are calling you on a daily basis? Has the tone changed a little bit ever since maybe Michael stepped away from the game?
You know what? I think the tone's changed. I think that there's apathy. I think that, you know what, they're to the point where, hey, we'll listen to you, but we're not really into talking about the Bulls or the Hawks or whatever. We're tired of it. We're tired of the losing. And you know what? This year, the big hope was the Cubs, and it didn't pan out.
There's still Sammy, however, to talk about.
Yay! You know, that's
You're going on a rant to the curtain call, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm old-fashioned. You know, I feel like if you're getting your brains beaten, if one of your guys does something good, just stay in the dugout. I don't care if the fans are yelling, come out, come out, come out. I have a problem with a guy that takes curtain calls, okay, when he's losing 7-2. He hits a home run, makes it 7-3 in a game this past week, and he's taking curtain calls because people are yelling, Sammy, Sammy, Sammy. You know what? It's not just about Sammy. But you know what? The fans come to see Sammy play. I understand it. But that doesn't mean he has to take a curtain call. I just got a bad feeling about it. I really did.
Yeah, you know, I kind of agree with you. I grew up in an era, I mean, not everybody took curtain calls. If you know, a lot of guys were they chanting for him and they didn't come out.
Mark McGuire,
kind of the thing about it.
Mark McGuire doesn't always take a curtain call. In fact, Mark McGuire has said, you know what, and I'm not saying Sammy doesn't want to win, but Mark McGuire says, when I hit a home run, we lose. It's an empty feeling. You know what I mean? I know Sammy's a great baseball player, but when you're getting your brains beat in 8-3, 7-2, and you hit a home run and you're stepping out of the dugout, I mean, is it me, or is it the team? You know what I mean? And I got to believe not every one of his teammates like that.
You mentioned the death watch with Riggs. They're giving him, I guess, what is it, a 40-game tryout here. They said he's going to survive till the end of the season. Do you think he survives into the next year, 2000?
I think he's going to survive. I think he's going to survive. He led him to the playoffs last year. See, he led him to the playoffs last year. This year, it's not his fault. His pitching let him down, all this. I'm hearing people say, well, you know what? Look at the product. Well, the product basically is the product that he had last year. He doesn't have Kerry Wood, but you brought in John Lieber. Sammy, Rodriguez, Morandini. I mean, he's the one that platooned Morandini this year. He's the one against the White Sox that played Manny Alexander this year. He's the one that put Blauser at second base this year. They act like Jim Riggleman did nothing wrong. I'll give Jim Riggleman 30% of the blame, the rest of the players, and to the front office. But for people to say he's only 10% of the blame or it's not his fault, why have a manager then? And now they got to motivate with Mark Grace paying the players.
Yeah.
Isn't a manager supposed to motivate?
That ought to be the way they handle their contracts from now on, if you ask me.
Exactly right.
Pay to play is what they should be doing with that team. He's Mike North. We're just getting started. We'll come back. We'll take your phone calls here on Sports Page for Pappy right after this.
Burley. I love this place.
As a baseball fan, I'm offended. I think it's selfish. I think it's me. I. Sammy Sosa on the show. I heard that he took Juan Nieves' bat and threw it out of... Somebody put Jose Nieves' bat in the Sammy Sosa rack. And he got mad. He takes it out and throws it away. Throws it underneath the bench. I mean, the guy has turned into... I like Sammy, but he's a selfish baseball player. Because if you're down 8-3 and you're taking curtain calls, then it's not about winning, it's about me. That's what it is.
Mike North was sampling a little bit from this afternoon.
No wonder I have high blood pressure. My God.
No wonder you're sweating out here. The sad part was watching Jose Nieves scrambling underneath the seats to try to pick up his own bat. That was the embarrassing part there. We're going to get to your phone calls in just a sec. Mike North is our guest here this evening. Let me ask you about something else away from the professional sports thing, something I know that you're involved with and very pleased about. High school sports. Our show's going to start this Wednesday. Soccer will be out here. 16-inch softball.
Yeah.
You got this thing through. It's going to start in the high schools this fall.
They didn't think it could be done. I went to see J.W. Smith, who is the head athletic director for the Chicago Public Schools, and I sat down with him. I thought it was going to be a hard sell. I had everything mapped out, including how to get the money and everything else. And September 14th, they're going to have 24 public high school teams. They're going to have 4 divisions, north, south, east, and west. They're going to be playing at 4 different sites. And they're going to have 6 teams in each division, and you're going to have 16 in softball, and you're going to get a letter. It's going to be a letter sport, which I'm very proud of because the sport has sort of been dying out. You see the same guys at every tournament and everything else. It needed some bringing up some fusion put to it. And what I think is great is I don't think it's going to stop at the public schools. My job is done. J.W. Smith and Paul Vallis now have the job of carrying it another step. But I think you're going to see the Catholic League eventually do it. I think you're going to see the mid-suburban leagues do it and stuff like that. I think you're going to see suburban schools and the Catholic high schools, the Catholic League, have 16-inch softball eventually, too. It's a great sport.
Yeah, and it's great in this day and age with so much fiscal responsibility for the high schools. You just give these guys a couple of bats and a ball and send them out to the field.
No gloves, and not everybody can play hardball.
Right.
But everybody can play 16-inch softball. Now, they're going to take the best guys, but everybody can go up there and whack that 16-inch softball, and they're going to take the best players, and you're going to have 20 on a roster, and it's just going to be an outstanding thing. I'm looking forward to September 14th when I can go out there and look out there and say, hey, you know what? I had part of a hand in this deal where there's going to be kids off the street playing softball.
And it seems like everything Jamie Navarro these days is throwing up there looks like a softball to the batters. What do you make of Navarro?
He's a pud.
Coming out and it doesn't get any offensive support. He's sitting here with an ERA over 6 for about the third year in a row.
Pud. I mean, you know what? This guy is making $5 million a year. He's got one more year left on his contract. I read where Jerry Manuel wants to make him a long reliever. That's got to be orders from upstairs. Jerry Reinsdorf should pay him off and get rid of his tired ass because the guy is absolutely brutal. Nothing is his fault. This year, 9 games, they scored over 6 runs for the guy. 9.
Yep.
9 other games, they scored 3 or fewer. But you want to know something? He's had support in games, and he's gotten torched. He gives up 6 runs in 1 inning yesterday. That doesn't give the team a chance to win. In the 3rd inning, it's 6-0. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
Is this the fault of the offense? Where'd that ball go, in the 3rd deck?
And then he puts up a quote at the end of the game. The Tribune quotes him as saying that he's tired of all this, that he can't hit for these guys. 1 run's not going to be enough to be able to help me out. And he didn't look at the stats, but the Trib and the papers, the guys covering it, did look it up, and they were right. Half the time he has gotten a lot of support and hasn't been able to do the job.
He calls his dad 3 times a week. What is it, a little leaguer? Well, he's got pitching coaches and everything else. I mean, look at that line score. Take a look at that. There is not a team in baseball. The Yankees would lose with that kind of pitching.
Yeah, and I hate that, and the Sox fans, I hate that Kip Wells keeps getting sent down, and you have to keep running Jamie Navarro out there.
Exactly right.
For that.
I can't figure that out either. They're talking about time, service time, and everything else. You know what? When they start getting to the legalities of the game, that's where they lose me. I don't care if it's salary cap. Well, you know what? If he comes up 3 more times now, the year of service is going to be counted. It's going to hurt Reinsdorf, But you know what? I think Kip Wells is going to be great. Aaron Mayette's going to be great. Baldwin's doing his usual thing. I'm curious to see the wins that he's had this second half against what teams. Because I know when he pitches against Cleveland or the Yankees, he gets his brains beat in.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's begin with Tino in Lombard. Hi, Tino.
How you doing?
We're good.
Good. I've got 2 comments. One about the Bears. I think they're going to go 8-8 this year. Second one is about the Cubs. And first of all, I think you got to get rid of Riggleman. And what about moving McPhail back into the GM position like he was in Minnesota and just getting rid of Ed Lynch?
You know what? I don't think you'll see him get rid of Ed Lynch. I think Riggleman's going to come back now. The deal is this. Jim Riggleman, granted it's not all his fault, but something interesting. I'm watching the Yogi Berra special the other day. They lose.
Yogi Bear?
Yogi Berra.
Oh, okay. I never know with you.
Take it easy, all right? Anyway, Yogi Berra loses the 1964 World Series as manager of the Yankees 4-3. They fire him. They fire him, and they hire the guy that beat him, Johnny Kane. Here, we're trying to save a manager's job, or the media is, and the fans, trying to save a manager's job whose team is like 4-17 in August. I mean, you figure it out, because I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I got no problem if they launch both of them. I'm just not sure how you can, get rid of Riggs without the other one. I think the 2 should be tied together.
Well, you know what?
way.
You would think that, but it's not Lynch's clubhouse. That's the thing. That clubhouse right now is chaotic. You got players paying other players for incentives. You got Sammy Sosa playing the boombox. Other players getting aggravated about that. Tyler Houston mouthing off about Riggleman's statements about him. So, I mean, right now, it's a chaotic clubhouse. And you know what? Jim Riggleman never got this team back on track. And I trace it all the way back to the Sox-Cubs series, the very first one. That's when he started to lose this team.
Yeah, right. They got swept, and even the game before that when Lance Johnson got picked off first base out in Arizona, and that led right to
How about him? How about him? Put a mask on Lance Johnson because he's stealing, ladies and gentlemen. This guy finally plays. He's got a pulled muscle in his stomach for 2.5, 3 months. Rodden Ventura came back faster with a busted leg.
Thanks, Tino, for the phone call. Joe is in Palos Hills. Hi, Joe.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Say
What's
hi to
up,
Mike.
Joe?
Hey, I was wondering, you're exactly right with Jamie Navarro about his pitching, but what do you think is the White Sox as a whole, as their organization? Because I'm a diehard Sox fan. I think what those Northsiders are doing is absolutely terrible. I mean, they should have traded more of their guys during the deadline. I don't know what the salary cap and everything, but what do you think about that?
Well, here's the deal. If you're the White Sox, you're in good shape. If you're Ron Schuler, you're in good shape. I was taking the round today. Paul Konerko has been outstanding for him, especially in the second half. You got Durham. Caruso is their weak link right now. He's having an off year. Craig Wilson could be their third baseman next year. But you got Singleton, Simmons. You got a guy out there in right field named Mags Ordonez. They got a good young ball club. There's not too many Cubs starters that could play for the White Sox right now. You got to look at it that way. I mean, I just think the White Sox are going to win for one reason. Everybody says, well, hey, the Tigers, they look good and then they faded. But the Sox have pitching. They have pitching in the minor leagues, which the Tigers didn't have. I think the Sox are sitting pretty. I think next year, Gary Manuel made the statement, we have to win next year. And I like a manager stepping out like that. He's saying, he's setting a tone. We're going to win next year. No more nonsense. I'm done teaching.
And I think they can when you look at the prospects they have. I'll tell you what, the Sox situation, heck of a lot better than the future the Cubs are facing right now. Joe, appreciate the call. I got to head into the break. Let me do that. We'll come back more of your calls and comments for Mike North from The Score right after
commercials.
this.
Wow.
Oh, so popular.
Would you do this to a $1,000 leather sofa? Ouch! Of course not. But accidents do happen, and we can fix them like new with Liquid Leather, another great product from HSN Direct. It'll make that ruined sofa, this damaged briefcase, this torn leather jacket, all like new again. And it's so easy to do. Just fill in the sore spot with the high-tech urethane compound with perfectly matched color. Cover with the finishing patch and let dry. Remove, and you have a perfect match that lasts forever. It's great for vinyl and naugahyde, too. Use it to fix that ugly crack on your dashboard. Just apply and let dry. It works every time. You get all the colors you need, along with an easy-to-follow mixing chart that shows you how to perfectly match any color. Even these ruined $90 pumps can be made like new. Just apply and let dry. $600 to replace this vinyl car top? No way. Just apply and let dry. $370 for a new car seat? Not a chance. Just apply and let dry. How about this expensive floor? Not a problem. Just apply and let dry. You never need heat or special tools. Just apply and let dry for a perfect match that lasts forever. You'd gladly pay $70, even $80 for this little miracle that can save you hundreds. But with HSN Direct, Liquid Leather is just $19.95. But it gets even better. Order now with your credit card and get Insta Fabric absolutely free. It works like a charm to repair tears and cigarette burns.
$5.95 shipping to Liquid Leather, P.O. Box 2976, Framingham, Massachusetts, 01703, or call 1-800-413-0505.
I will tell you this. Jerry Manuel says today that they want to make him a long reliever next year. No, get rid of him. Eat the contract. Get rid of the guy. Give him his $5 million. We made a mistake. You can't keep him because forget about the long relief role. The deal is he's a cancer.
Yeah, he's got to go. But how do you get rid of him? You know,
you let him go. You just give him his release, and you know what? If somebody picks him up, I guess, you got to pay for the cost or whatever. Jamie Navarro sucks.
He tells it like it is. Mike North on The Score Sports Radio 1160. Now on from noon to 4. So you got Boers and Bernstein in the morning.
Can I tell you the lineup? I got it memorized.
Okay.
Took me a couple days.
Please tell me Les is still on overnight.
Of course he is. You have Murphy and Hubner from 5:30 to 8. Then you got Terry Boers and Danny Bernstein from 8 to noon. Then you got yours truly flying solo from 12 to 4. Then you got my old buddy Danny Jiggets from 4 to 7 along with Dan McNeil. Then McNeil works an extra hour till 8 o'clock. Then you got Tommy Williams from 8 to midnight, and then you got Les from midnight to 5:30.
So Les ain't going anywhere.
Les is never going anywhere. Les is like attached to the seats and everything. His grime is all over the building, you know? But I mean, it was a hell of a change. I'll tell you, we were in shock when they told us, Thursday after the show, after we'd come back from lacrosse, they called me, and I thought I was in trouble again for saying something about a sponsor or something like that. Gleason calls me, and Ron Gleason, our program director, and I go, look, man, come on. I don't want to talk about this crap anymore. He goes, sit down. I got something else for you. They take Jiggs into another room with Jeff Schwartz and Harvey Wells. So like they split us up because they knew if they had us together, it would have been a tough deal. They split us up and say there's they're splitting us up for the good of the station, and it's going to only help the station. And they come out with these things. Well, we walked out in shock, okay? And the next day, Friday, was the toughest day I've ever had working in the business. I mean, I've been in the business now 7 years, and it was the toughest day because Jiggs and I had the rug pulled from out of us. So did everybody else at the score, and they decided to go with this. But I will also say this. If we're going to criticize teams in this town for not making moves, if we're going to criticize individuals for not making moves, management types for not making moves, then we got to accept, as hard as it was for me, we got to accept what they've done because I believe the product was stagnating a little bit, and it showed. I mean, we hadn't done as well in the ratings over the last year as we could have, as we should have. And I look at it this way. I think that, first of all, the score is not ratings driven. It's advertisers love the score. But you still don't like to finish 25th, 26th in the market, and that's what was happening.
Yeah, you know, it's
I mean, I was like this when they told me. First, I told Gleason, I go, you're kidding me. I go, you quit screwing around. What do you got to tell me?
You heard the rumors.
And then I got to go. We heard the rumors, but we never dreamt they'd split the teams up. We heard the rumors they'd move Jiggetson north into the morning, maybe, or that they'd move McNeil and Boers midday, Jiggetson north into the afternoon, that they were going to do some things with the weekends. But you never dreamt they were going to split up McNeil and Boers. You never dreamt they were going to split up Jiggetson north. Never. Now their deal is saying, well, hey, you know what? Where we used to have Jiggetson north, McNeil and Boers from 10 until 6, now you got one of those guys from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. So I believe New York had something to do with this too, because I don't believe our management had the guts to do this by themselves, quite frankly. I don't. But they did it, you know.
You're not playing salsa music in the clubhouse or anything, are you?
I'll tell you what, we've done worse than that, believe me. It's been a while, 7 years. Hey, and I'm not, hey, look, I'm under contract, and you know what? Every day, I went to work for a living. I used to go to work for a living. I know there's guys out there that have 6, 7 kids, that have, you know, single-parent homes. They have to bust their ass in a factory, or they're selling hot dogs, or they're working in gas stations. And people are telling me, boy, you got a lot of pressure on you because you're working by yourself. Well, you know what? Pressure to me is when you don't have enough money to pay the bills and stuff like that. This will work itself out. But they told me, I go, why am I working by myself? They said, because you've been working by yourself when Jiggs went on vacation, and we thought you can do it, so you're going to do it. Now they got me to the point now, I'm not going to fail, because I think, in a way, a lot of people are saying you're going to fail. Well, that ain't going to happen.
Right, a lot of people are going to say, well, you know, he'll put his foot in his mouth one too many times,
right.
and we got him.
He's going to end up getting himself in trouble. I've heard all that, but I'm not going to do that. In fact, we're going to be successful. That whole station's going to be successful, from overnights to weekends to middays to mornings to afternoons.
Well said. Let's go back out to the lines, and Tony's up next. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
All right.
How's it going?
It's going great, man.
Hey, listen, I just wanted to piggyback on some of the things you were saying. I've been listening to the score for a long, long time, and I really think you're phenomenal.
Thank you.
And, you know, you really got me listening to the score and everything, and you and Jiggs. And I just wanted to ask you, being an entrepreneurial guy that you are, owning your own businesses, is this still fun for you? And what I mean by this is just in a nutshell, you know, when you and Danny Lee and the guys kind of, you know, it's a startup organization, you guys, nobody gave you a shot. Then Carmazon and the crew came in, they bought you, now you're like your big corporation, and now this format change, and then you work in solo. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think, I don't want to say like it's a conspiracy with Mel Carmazon, but, you know, is it tainted a little bit for you in that, you know, Jordan had to deal with Reinsdorf and et cetera, and Krause. Is it as fun for you today as when you walked in 92, 93?
No. It's fun to be on the air, and it's fun to talk to the listeners like yourself. It's fun to talk to the athletes and stuff like that. But I will say this. In 92, it was owned by Danny Lee, the score, and it was family run. Now you have corporate. When corporate's involved, there's paperwork, this and that. Not that I have to fill it up, but if you ask that if you want to go on a remote somewhere, if you want to go out of town somewhere, it takes 10 times longer, where the guy used to be in the corner office, Danny Lee. So as far as the management side of it, it's not as much fun as it used to be because it was family run in the old days. Yeah. And without Danny Lee, I wouldn't be on the air. But still being on the air is the greatest job on earth. I used to want to play second base for the Sox and be a receiver for the Cubs, or maybe be a broadcaster as far as doing baseball games. But it's a great job. You go to work every day in your hometown, and you get a chance to talk to the listeners, have a great time.
Tony, it was a good question.
Thanks,
I do
Tony.
appreciate the phone call. We'll hit another break. We'll come back more with Mike North from The Score in just a moment. Stick around.
I never thought that I would be able to finish a college degree, but
now my dream of a degree is just a few classes away. That's because I'm
a student at Governor State University, where tuition is the lowest in the state, and there are plenty of financial aid opportunities.
Even for a part-time student, and classes at GSU are
offer their times to fit my busy schedule. I can even take classes from home.
From the internet. That's why I'm a student at Governor State University.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Cab forward space and available CD. Dream a little dream of me. The next Neon, a lot more to love.
For extended live coverage whenever the story breaks, count on CLTV, Chicagoland's only 24-hour source for news, weather, and sports. Along with our news partner, the Chicago Tribune, CLTV delivers the information you want exactly when you need it, without hype or sensationalism, giving you the most comprehensive coverage around Chicagoland, around the clock. It's live local coverage you can count on. CLTV, the only news team that covers Chicagoland 24 hours a day.
Guys, make sure, you know what, if you're really going to take a close shot, let me tuck my chin in a little bit. I want the double chin showing, because I'm on this protein diet now. Anybody wants to talk about the Mayo Clinic diet, give me a call, because this is a great diet. I can eat as much as I want. All the meat I want. The only problem is my cholesterol will shoot up to 1,011, but that's okay.
Mike North from The Score talks about just about anything. He's our guest here this evening.
I'm on that diet.
Well, what is this protein diet?
Well, here's the thing. Since I got the TV gig now, you know what I'm saying? I'm going, hey, you know, I better lose a little weight. I'm up to 195. Well, anyway, I'm on this diet. It's called the Mayo Clinic diet. You can eat as much meat as you want. You have to have grapefruit juice at every sitting. For breakfast, you have bacon and eggs. I mean, you eat like an animal. You can have like 3 steaks if you want for dinner. It's all protein, right? Well, I'm like a balloon right now, but they say in 5 days, Rob, 5 days, I'll lose 5 pounds, and then 1.5 pounds for each day after that. But if I break the diet before the 5 days, I'll shoot up to 250 pounds. So I got a lot of pressure on me, buddy. A lot of pressure.
It's probably a good thing McNeil and Boers are no longer together anymore, because that eating meat comment probably would have gotten played back on the next day around 4 o'clock or
exactly
so.
Right.
Let's get Sal in Bloomingdale next. Hi, Sal.
Hi, Sal.
Hey, how you doing?
We're good.
Right.
How's it going, Mike?
Good, Sal.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you how long your contract runs at The Score, and if there's any future possibility of you and Dan getting together, whether it's at The Score again or at another radio station. And before you hang up, I'd like to know also who your sleeper pick in the NFL is this year. And lastly, where's that suit of yours? At the cleaners or what?
You didn't get the memo we sent about the dress code.
Look what I
here.
got. I got the fire department shirt on. Without our guys, there'd be no building standing. That's all I got to tell you.
You're beautiful.
Thanks, buddy. I have about 3.5 years to go on my contract, and it's guaranteed. It's not like the NFL. It's like Major League Baseball. But
like Jamie Navarro's.
That's exactly right. And I'm not really supposed to talk about the length of the contract, but I don't give a damn. You know, you have all these stupid rules and everything else. I will say this. Someday down the line, who knows what's going to happen. Dan Jiggets was a great partner. He really, really was. And Danny and I were together for 7 years. That's why it's a very hard thing to do, break up. But as far as The Score is concerned, I never want to leave The Score. I want to be like that guy, Chris Berman. You know, he started at ESPN, and he stayed there the whole time. That's what I'd like to end up happening. And hopefully it will.
Sleeper pick NFL.
Tampa Bay. Warren Sapp came in at 287 last year. He walked in at 320 pounds. No, Warren Sapp came in at 287 this year. Walked in at 320 pounds last year. And he set the tone for that whole team last year with his sluggish play. He had 5.5 sacks last year, where he had 10.5, 11, plus a ton of hurries the year before. I think they have Trent Dilfer. If he goes down, they got the sleeper quarterback, Sean King, who came out of Tulane. Austin, and these other guys, they had a wake-up call. Hey, they got slapped around last year, and they go, whoa, man, we're not as good as we thought. I think they're going to come back and really cause a lot of problems.
How about your guy, the coach, with Ricky Williams? Can they be a playoff team in his third season?
Well, I got to believe this.
They got smacked the other night.
Edgerrin James ran for 77 yards on 10 carries, but Ricky Williams could have played if it was a regular season game. Ditka's doing the right thing. Williams, he's going to give him 35 touches. I look for New Orleans to make the playoffs. I don't think Atlanta is going to be as good as everybody thinks it's going to. I think last year was a Cinderella year for them. Everything went right for them. And the San Francisco 49ers, they might be pretenders now, too. Maybe the rest of the bunch is caught up with them. Ricky Williams, it's all based on him. If Ditka can get him to carry the ball 25, 30 times, he'll keep the scores low, and that defense is hell on wheels. They really, really are.
A little concerned watching him limp off the first preseason game after.
Well, yeah, I mean, and look at Brett Favre tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, you got to be having a stroke right now.
Because good news is they traded Rick Meyer, though.
Yeah, but how about this? Parcells picks him up for second string.
Yeah.
What are we missing here? Is this what Testaverde could go down the first week, and Meyer's going to be underneath the center? Well, who does Green Bay have? Hasselbeck? Is that his name?
And Matt Hasselbeck.
Man, if Favre goes down, they're through. Bart Starr can quarterback better than him, and he's 60 years old.
Trade him one of the Bears quarterbacks.
That's exactly right.
Have a glut right now. Tim is in Carroll Stream. Hi, Tim.
How you doing?
We're good.
Good. Hey, Mike, listen, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, Tim.
Listen, on that Channel 2 gig,
yes.
You know, they, the games run late on the network. I don't know how that's going to affect your show, but that could be pushed back by 20 minutes to a half an hour on given, Sunday night.
Yeah, it can be pushed back, and then other times it's going to start on time. Maybe sometimes. We know this. I'm thrilled to be on a regular channel.
Sure.
At 11:05 every Sunday night, because Channel 62, and God bless them, they gave me an opportunity. We did 39 shows there. But you know what? Channel 62, and I bet you on your TV it's not Channel 62, is it? It's channel probably 32.
I think it was 12 or something. I don't know, 11.
And in every town, it's a different channel, right. And that caused a lot of confusion. Now when people ask me, what channel you on? I go, 2.
Yeah.
And that's 2 everywhere, so I'm happy about it. If we get pushed back, now you're a guy that probably likes to stay up late.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be able to handle it.
Yeah, as long as Wanstead's gone.
He's gone. Aren't we happy?
Oh, God. Oh.
And you know what? Addition by subtraction.
Absolutely.
And you know what? This guy still thinks he didn't do anything wrong.
No, he's brutal.
He is.
Brutal.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
I want you to fire on McPhail a little bit more, okay? Only because this guy has, he's got to provide the leadership now for this organization if they're ever going to get their tail, their head out of their tail.
Well,
and he's got to step up and say either Lynch and Riggleman are going to pay the consequences for the failures of the past 5 years, or we're just going to have to continue this, this losing tradition.
Well, I think he's going to keep them both one more year. I think next year, if they're horrible, I think they're both gone. It's hard to fire on a guy that you don't see.
Yeah.
Or you don't know how much involvement the guy's got. I mean, I don't even fire on Lynch that much. As a fan, and I've always been a big baseball fan, as a fan, I look at the manager first. And I know it's not maybe always the right thing to do, but I look at how he handles his club. If he goes out and fights for his team. If he goes out once in a while, like Piniella did last night, and maybe gets ejected, gets his team fired up, he doesn't do any of this. This guy is Dave Wanstead, too. See, Riggleman, and I ask you this question. You've been in the media a while now. If Jim Riggleman had a Bobby Knight attitude towards the press, would they be calling for his scalp right now?
Probably not, but I don't think it makes them have any more wins either.
You don't think they'd be calling for a scalp? I think they'd be all over him. Ditka had one losing season and people were on him.
I think people want to see more fire out of Jim Riggleman.
I know, but I mean, I'm saying if he's abrasive to the press, with the year he's having now, if like for you, if you go, hey, Jim, I'd like to ask you a question. Hey, jerk off, I'm busy, we lost today. Are you going to have a positive attitude towards this guy?
That's what I get when I go in to talk to my bosses here.
Me too.
Strangely enough. We got to hit a break on that. No, we'll come back. Jim, others, hang on the line. I promise we get your calls from Mike North right after this. Stay there.
My name is Bernhard Langer, and for a long time my life was golf, golf, and more golf. I'd won 7 tournaments in 1 year, was ranked #1 in the world. I had a beautiful young wife, but there was something missing. Until one day another golfer helped me find the way to a personal relationship with God. I discovered the personal faith that changed my life forever and brought me more fulfillment than any golf victory ever could. If there's something missing from your life, you should read this wonderful book. It's called Power for Living, and it's yours absolutely free. It provides real and lasting solutions to life's everyday problems by leading you toward a personal relationship with God, a relationship that saved my life.
To get your free copy of Power for Living, just call this toll-free number. There's no risk, no obligation, and no one will call.
Call today and begin to change your life for the better.
From dangerous winds to severe storms, Chicagoland looks to one weather team to keep them one step ahead of the storm. CLTV. With more than 30 years of combined meteorology experience, our weather team are weather experts, monitoring Chicagoland's weather 24 hours a day, keeping you informed on a storm's progress minutes, hours, even days before it occurs. Updates that will help you plan your day accordingly from the weather team that watches over Chicagoland 24 hours a day. CLTV.
By the way, help me out with this. Is the Air and Water Show, has it ever been held when the Sox are in town? I don't think so.
No, every year it's been on the north side with the Cubs.
Does the city do that on purpose? I know a lot of the ball players didn't like it yesterday. I know a lot of the people didn't like it yesterday. You saw ball players holding their ears and stuff like that. But it seems to me the Cubs got a deal going with the city of Chicago and the Air and Water Show. I guess they like to jam everything up on the north side for this Sunday.
Conspiracy theory, I guess. The difference was you had the ball players holding their ears at Wrigley yesterday, and normally the fans are holding their noses.
Too bad they didn't take a few strikes at the players on the field, those Jets. Let me ask you something. Isn't the Air and Water Show always at there when the Cubs are playing?
It has been for the last few years. They've gone to Wrigley.
They plan it like that.
You
know what I mean? They got to. It's a big festive occasion. The Cubs are losing. The planes are going overhead. You have the race car drivers. Now the guy with the one house is complaining in Cicero.
Yeah.
Guy's got one house standing by itself. He's complaining about the noise from the racetrack. What do you think? What do you think they were going to do? What do you think they were going to do when he heard there was going to be a racetrack? He could have sold, couldn't he?
Yeah, when you build a home next to O'Hare, you got to anticipate these kind of things happening.
Exactly.
Jim is in Chicago. Jim, thanks for waiting.
Hi, fellas. How are you?
Hi, Jim.
Mike, I'd just like to congratulate you and the Chicago Public League for taking a proactive stance and trying to revive softball. I mean, on 5 or 6 generations of Chicagoans, it would be a horrible thing to see it go by. And I, like you, have seen the kids stop playing it. And until now, Mike, you were just a hot dog guy. But now, if you make this thing work, Mike, you're going to be beautiful. Thanks again, buddy.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you this. I always will be a hot dog guy. I never forget where I came from. I get people calling me sometimes. They go, "You're nothing but a hot dog guy. I mean, you know, how'd you get on here? How'd you do this?" I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact I owned a hot dog stand in this town for 16, 17 years, and we faced competition. Every day we had to get up there with 3,000 hot dog stands in town. You had to make money. So it doesn't bother me one bit. As far as the public league's concerned, I mean, the sport was dying. We had to do something, and now it's going to bring confidence to kids. If a kid who can't do anything else but hit a softball ends up doing well at it, it helps them in school and everything else.
And kudos, too, to the Public League for taking that on, too. It's, and I appreciate the phone call, Jim. Thanks. Let me stick in Chicago. Get Ron on here with us. Hi, Ron.
Hey, how you gentlemen doing?
Hi, Ron.
I got actually a statement and a question. I really haven't got a chance to look at the Bears too tough this year, but I remember when Jerome was first hired as head coach, his aura seems to be much better than that of Dave Wannstedt. And I don't want to jump on the Wannstedt bandwagon and bashing him, but I think Dave Wannstedt was a good defensive coordinator. I don't think he was a good head coach, and it just seems like the Bears have the jury's still out on them. And I think they have a very good, potentially, I think they have a very good upside. But my question is, it's about the bumbling Bulls. Do you honestly think that let me start from the top and work my way down. Do you actually think that Krause / Reinsdorf is actually, the other way around, is actually going to put a winner together? Because I was really upset when he didn't draft a point guard. I mean, I know they have a gargantuan holes to fill, but it just seems like Brand, just like Mariotti, just like he said, it just seems like he's what's that? Who's the guy that the power forward? That
like an Armin Gilliam,
like a Lloyd,
Lloyd Vaught, those type of players. Look, he says he's got a plan. If they get Tim Duncan, the plan worked. If they get Grant Hill, I guess the plan worked. If they don't,
do you really think that? Do you actually think that Tim Duncan is going to want to come here. Joe Smith didn't even want to come here.
Well,
Mick Dice didn't even want to come here.
And if they move the franchise in San Antonio that they're talking about, there's a chance that Duncan would probably maybe go elsewhere. Chicago, I suppose, would be somewhere
They're
on the
going to be
list.
about 25, 30 million under the cap next year. Now, I agree with them this year. There's nothing out there. So don't go spending money foolishly. If they get Grant Hill or Duncan next year, and you can't say never, because I never thought Albert Bell was going to come to the Sox. There's a lot of things that have gone on this time. But if they can get one of those two guys and build around them, I think they're going to be fine. Elton Brand, I think, is a hell of a basketball player. You have the basketball, the player of the year. He played the best of anybody I saw in college basketball this year. This guy was only a sophomore, and he was a man among boys underneath. But I will tell you something right now. I get a kick out of the fact that the Bulls better win, and they better win now.
Yeah.
They've won 6 titles when the Cubs and Sox haven't won for a century, and people keep saying we're going to rebuild and we got to be patient. I do believe with 25 or 30 under the cap, 30 million under the cap, that Krause is going to go out, and there's got to be players that want to play in this town because you make money not only on the court but off the court.
Can I ask you a question right quick before you come out?
I got to hit a break. If you want to hang on there, Ron, maybe we can get you and come back from there. So stick around there. Let me take our final break, come back, and we'll take as many calls as we can and wrap things up with Mike North. We got a lot of commercials. Got to pay for an appearance such as yours out here on this fine show. Back in a moment.
For the only local evening news on the air between 6:30 and 9 p.m., turn to Emmy Award-winning CLTV News, Chicagoland's only 24-hour local news source.
I see trees of green, red roses too.
There are songs that fill you with hope,
For me and you.
warm your heart,
And I think to myself,
and lift your spirit.
what a wonderful world. Everything is beautiful.
Heartland Music presents Songs of Inspiration.
Did you ever know that you're my hero?
40 uplifting songs.
And everything I'd like to be.
40 songs you'll cherish forever.
To dream the impossible dream.
Get Songs of Inspiration on 2 CDs or 2 cassettes for just $14.99. These are songs that say something special.
One day at a time, sweet Jesus.
The CD plus $3.99 shipping and handling to Songs of Inspiration, Department 1, Richmond, Virginia 23280.
Welcome back. Always a fun time when Mike North from The Score drops by. Yeah, he's right alongside here. Final couple of moments. Ron was on the line, had one more question he wanted to ask. Ron, you still there?
How you doing, guys?
Sorry, Ron. What was the last thing you wanted to mention?
I think Krause is just like the biggest liar in the world. I can't stand him. He just makes me sick. I mean, anybody, I think Jordan fell into his hands, and I just want to ask you this question. Do you think the Bulls are like the worst when it comes to public relations? Because I have never seen, since the minds of the Bulls, so to speak, I've never seen so many public relations blunders in my life, because personally, I would have drafted the point guard. That's just my opinion.
Well, you know what? A point guard, first of all, in the offense they run, they never had a point guard.
True.
You know what? With the triangle, they never had a point guard. As far as public relation blunders, the White Sox have owned that. Now the Chicago Cubs are starting to take over, especially like after tonight. Well, first of all, with the O. Henry bars. Arresting 5 guys because they threw O. Henry bars on the field.
A week after drafting Ben Christensen.
Exactly right. And then, tonight, they could have played that game, got 5, 6, 7 innings in. Instead, they delay it. I don't know if they're going to get the game off or not. But you know what? Even if they could have only played 3 innings, you know what? For a lot of those kids that come out there, that could have been their one time that they're going to be out there, and they could have seen Sammy and Grace and these guys play 1 or 2 innings. But no, let's keep the concession stands open for an hour and a half, and let's stick it to the fans that way and not have any baseball.
And I'm told they have not started just yet.
And they could have played an hour and a half, right?
It didn't start raining until
I know this is
8:30.
Tribune territory, Rob. I don't want to get you in
all right.
trouble.
Hey, we bashed the Cubs plenty on Cubs.
All right, I just want to say.
Let me see if we can get Jimmy and Gelwood on here in our final minute. Jimmy.
What's up, guys? How you doing, Pappy?
All right,
Got a
Jimmy.
minute, less than a minute for you.
All right, I'll make it quick. Congratulations with the softball gig with the high schools, Mike, first of all.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to see the Cubs do what the Houston Astros did a few years ago and take the guy out of the radio booth, the television booth, and make him the manager.
Stoney.
How about it?
I remember when everybody said with Larry Durker, what are they doing? By the way, The Houston Astros this year lost Cam and Eddie.
More injuries
Moises
than anybody.
Huh?
More injuries than anybody.
They lost a ton of guys, and yet they're in first place. But the Cubs, you know, Riggleman had a bad hand. I just don't figure it out. Larry Dirk is the best manager maybe in the National League, next to Jack McCann.
Hunsucker, the GN, is not too bad either with the talent he's been able to stockpile.
But boy, didn't Houston lose a ton of guys?
More than anybody.
Right? And all of a sudden, well, wait a minute, how are they doing it?
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, you got to give them credit.
Jimmy, appreciate the phone call. We're just about out of time. Noon to 4. It's tough to not say 10 to 2 anymore, I tell you.
It went too fast. I mean, this hour went too fast. Can I stay? Can I do news with the who's the black dude? Where's he at?
Greg Prather doing the news.
Can I do the news with him?
Getting set, ready to go.
There's my guy. I'll do the news with him. I'll stick around. How you doing, big guy?
He's ready to go on
there.
there.
I do the news. I want to sit with the guy.
We're out of time.
All
Chicago Fire, our Sting reunion show tomorrow night.
Oh, my God. I'm going to turn that baby on.
Big for that. Frankie
Willie Roy
Klopas and
coming by
company.
for
You got it. Willie Roy's going to be here.